Hello everyone. This tutorial is about the new functions in the category definition section of the QSAR Toolbox. The QSAR Toolbox was developed as a logical workflow that allows a chemical category to be created based on structural or mechanistic characteristics of a target molecule. Previously, the only way to define a category and perform subcategorization was to use the profiling schemes and metabolic simulators. With the new version of QSAR Toolbox, version 4.7, it is possible to collect analogs and further subcategorize them by using additional features implemented in the system, such as user-defined structural requirement or a parametric criterion. This is very useful in cases where no analogs are captured using the profiling schemes or the analogs are not suitable for read-across purposes. An example of collecting analogs based on a user-defined structural requirement will be demonstrated as no analogs are found with the available profiling schemes. The analogs are further subcategorized based on additional structural and parametric requirements. Let's get started. The target chemical is entered by its identification number 50712-70-4. Next, we define the target endpoint to indicate the appropriate knowledge and databases that can be used to collect analogs. The target endpoint is LD50 associated with acute oral toxicity, which is part of the human health hazards section. Once the target endpoint is defined, it appears in the data matrix with yellow color. Now let us select the databases that contain experimental data for the defined endpoint. For this, we need to go to the Data module and select all the highlighted databases. The color indicates the availability of experimental data for the defined endpoint. We can group the databases by the defined endpoint, which is possible in the options, where we need to select data for the target endpoint for group by. Before selecting all green databases, make sure that no others are selected in the list of databases. Click the Gather button. No experimental data is available for the target chemical. In this case, if we want to collect analogs for read-across purpose, we need to go to the Category Definition module. There are several functions that allow collecting analogs in the Categorization section and refining the collected list of analogs in the Subcategorization section. The other two sections, Tools and Category Consistency, are associated with additional functions that are not the subject of this tutorial and will not be shown. First, let us try a structure-based profiler like the organic functional groups and collect analogs that have the same distribution of functional groups as the identified for the target chemical. To tighten the selection, we use the strict option. This option does not allow analogs that have additional functional groups which are not presented in the list of functional groups identified for the target chemical. Only one analog is found, but there is no data for the target endpoint and we cannot proceed with read across. In this case, we can use the new functionality that allows us to draw a fragment and use it for collecting analogs. We need to go to the root node in the document tree where the target chemical is and select by fragment. A new dialog appears in which the structure of the target chemical is displayed again. Here, we use the Edit button which will open the drawing panel. The structural requirement in this case is the benzonitrile group. To define it, we need to remove the carbon, methyl, and chlorine atoms by using Delete button and clicking on the atoms. After confirming the drawing, the system searches selected databases for analogs that have a benzonitrile group in their molecules. More than 200 chemicals are found and there are enough chemicals with experimental data for the target endpoint to perform read across. We could refine the list of collected analogs also here by using the functionalities in the Subcategorization section. The collected analogs can be subcategorized using a profiler, a user-defined fragment, or by parametric criteria. Note that in the Subcategorization section, chemicals are removed if they meet the defined criteria. In the current example, the list of analogs is subcategorized according to a user-defined fragment and a parametric requirement. First, all chemicals with a nitro group are removed. For this purpose, we use the by fragment functionality in the subcategorization section to define the structural requirement. Once it is done, we confirm and remove all chemicals that have a nitro group in their molecules. The next subcategorization is via a parameter. Now we are going to remove all lipophilic chemicals having octanol water partition coefficient greater than 4. Select by parameter option and then add the text log in the filter field. Now we see this coefficient in the list, select it. In the field below, we open the drop-down list, select the symbol for greater and insert the value 4. Remove the chemicals. Similarly, one could draw other functional groups or define other parametric rules for eliminating chemicals from the list. Congratulations! You are already familiar with the new subcategorization functionalities in Toolbox. Now you are ready to learn about other functionalities and how to use them. Contact QSAR Toolbox Help Desk for technical questions. If your question concerns policy or regulatory acceptance of Toolbox results within the EU legislations of ECHA's competence, please refer to the ECHA website directly.